Have you ever just sat there staring at your phone at 11 p.m., looking at your budgeting app flashing bright red, and just sighed, "Man, I messed up again"? If so, trust me, you're not alone. Back in the day, I was completely obsessed with budgeting. I mean, I had 5 different Excel spreadsheets. I micromanaged every single penny. $50 for eating out, $100 for gas, $30 for coffee. I thought I was being so responsible and grown up. But what actually happens? You stroll into Target. You grab a few random things, swipe your card, and boom, $80 gone. Immediately, your phone buzzes, demanding you categorize that transaction right then and there. And you just stand there, scratching your head. Okay, the $30 for toilet paper is an essential expense, but what bucket does the $20 sale t-shirt go into? After just a few weeks of trying to live like that, managing your money suddenly turns into a second full-time job. It completely drains you. And the worst part is it makes you feel guilty for spending the very money you worked so hard to earn. And just like that, we fall into a classic psychological trap. I like to call it the normal month fallacy. You look at your negative balance and comfort yourself. Well, this month was just bad luck. Next month will be a normal month, and I'll definitely save some money then. But let's be real with each other. There is no such thing as a normal month. One month, your car's check engine light randomly pops on, and there goes $400. The next month, you get bombarded with wedding invitations. The month after that, your AC completely dies. You make this picture-perfect plan on paper, but real life is always messy. And every time that budget falls apart, you beat yourself up. You think you lack discipline. You think you're just bad at math. But the truth is, you didn't fail. That outdated, rigid budgeting system that forces you to count every single penny, it was literally built to work against the natural instincts of your human brain. So today, I'm going to show you the science behind why you're so exhausted. And more importantly, we're going to design a new financial architecture together. One where you never need a ton of discipline to feel secure about your money again. The biggest reason we keep falling flat on our faces with budgets is a massive false belief. We think budgeting requires iron discipline. Apps like Mint or YNAB act like we have this unlimited superpower of willpower, but science says, nope, not happening. Dr. Roy Baumeister, a renowned social psychologist, did a ton of research and found a phenomenon called ego depletion. He proved that human willpower isn't just an endless supply you can tap into forever. It's exactly like a muscle. The more you use it, the more tired and burnt out it gets. Just think about an average day for you. You wake up early, fight through rush hour traffic to get to work. You bite your tongue when your boss gets on your nerves. You force yourself to say no to the amazing smelling donuts your coworker brought in because you're on a diet. Every single one of those tiny decisions is quietly wearing down your willpower muscle. By 7 p.m., when you drag yourself home completely exhausted, your willpower battery is practically at zero. And that is the exact moment you cave, open DoorDash, and order a $30 meal instead of cooking in the kitchen. You don't do that because you're lazy or undisciplined. You do it because your brain is literally fried for the day. Forcing a human to use willpower to manage money every single day is a guaranteed recipe for failure, and it gets worse. Traditional budgets push us into another trap, the screw-it effect. Traditional budgeting is exactly like extreme crash dieting. You restrict yourself so much that if you slip up even a tiny bit, your brain totally overreacts. For example, you've been doing great at saving for 3 straight weeks, but on Friday night of week 4, you go out with friends and accidentally go $10 over your dining out budget. The app immediately flashes bright red sirens. This month's perfect plan is ruined. And what goes through your mind? Well, I already blew it. Might as well buy those shoes on Amazon, and I'll just start fresh next month. You completely trash the budget over one tiny mistake, simply because the system is so suffocating it doesn't give you any room to breathe. The deeper consequence of this penny pinching game is something Harvard University calls the bandwidth tax. When you're constantly stressing over how much is left in your grocery bucket, or if buying this coffee will ruin your weekly budget, you are burning up your brain's energy on trivial stuff. It traps you in this "how do I survive this week" mindset, making you completely forget to look ahead to plan for investments or ask for a raise. Trust me, those budgets aren't making you smarter with money, they are just draining your energy. Hey, if you still beat yourself up every time you go over budget, you need to hear these actual numbers. According to a NerdWallet survey, a massive 84% of Americans who do have a budget still admit they overspend. In fact, nearly half of them have to swipe a credit card just to cover that shortfall. Let's think about this logically for a second. If you bought a piece of computer software and it had an 84% failure rate, you'd toss it in the trash and demand a refund instantly. You'd call it complete garbage. But when a personal finance system causes 84% of its users to fail, we bow our heads and take the blame. We mumble, "I'm just so bad at this," instead of realizing, hey, this car was built with broken brakes. Let's look at the bigger reality here. The Federal Reserve has reported that 37% of US adults can't even scrape together $400 in cash right away to cover an emergency. Life in America is inherently volatile, from medical bills and car repairs to grocery inflation. Forcing that life into a rigid budget box and making you guess what you'll spend next month is a complete delusion. It will absolutely shatter when it collides with reality. Remember, the problem isn't you. The problem is the design of the system. It's time to ditch the micromanaging of every single dime and start designing the big picture of your cash flow. Here at Money Loop, we don't do those rigid budgets. We are going to build a financial architecture. Here are 3 super simple upgrades that will completely change how you spend money. The biggest mistake people make is getting their paycheck dumped into one checking account, opening their phone, seeing a $4,000 balance, and their brain immediately goes, "Whoa, I'm rich, let's hit a restaurant." But in reality, $2,000 of that is meant for rent next week. The fix isn't telling yourself not to spend it. The fix is hiding it. Turn the account where your paycheck lands into a hub account. When your paycheck hits, the system should automatically route money straight into savings and hold back the exact amount needed for bills. And here's the key. You delete that bank's app off your phone. Never look at the money in that hub account again. Your daily spending money will automatically transfer to a checking account at a totally different bank. You only install the app for this second bank. Out of sight, out of mind, and your brain won't be tricked into thinking you're loaded. Your brain doesn't have the space to remember if the fund has $45 left or the gas fund has $20. That confusing mess of categories is exactly what's burning you out. Throw all those categories away. Instead, after your bills and savings are automatically deducted, the remaining money transferred to that second bank is your safe-to-spend number for the week. You only need to remember one number. If it's $300 this week, you can happily spend it on whatever you want. Groceries, gas, hitting the bar, or checking out your Amazon cart. No categorizing, no second guessing. If that number hits 0, you simply stop swiping your card. Money management goes from a headache-inducing 50-row spreadsheet to a simple math problem a first grader could do. Remember the normal month fallacy from earlier? To keep your system from collapsing, you have to prepare for the messiness of life ahead of time. Never expect a smooth month. Just accept the fact that life will always charge you a chaos tax, a flat tire, a sick pup, or a random wedding invitation falling out of the sky. Instead of panicking and pulling money from your emergency fund and feeling like a total failure, set up an automatic transfer of 5% or 10% of your income into an account called the Chaos Fund. When the car breaks down and costs $400, you don't ruin a single piece of your weekly budget. You don't get that "screw it, it's already ruined" mentality. You just casually pull the money from the Chaos Fund and pay it. Your system already planned for this, and your peace of mind stays completely intact. You see, the most stressful financial battle isn't fighting off temptation. It's when you have to force yourself to use today's willpower to make up for yesterday's flimsy system. Sitting around counting pennies or beating yourself up every time you spend money isn't going to make you rich. It's just going to exhaust you. There's a quote I really love. Financial freedom doesn't start with iron discipline. It starts when you design a system where, even on your weakest days, your money automatically goes in the right direction. If today's video helped you drop that heavy guilt, those outdated budgeting apps put on your shoulders, don't forget to hit subscribe. The Money Loop channel isn't here to teach you how to pinch pennies. We're here to decode and redesign this money game together. Oh, speaking of redesigning, we just talked about the chaos tax and setting aside a little cash for everyday messes. You're probably thinking, wait, isn't that just the emergency fund that textbook experts keep preaching about? Actually, the emergency fund is a completely different story. If you've ever tightened your belt to build that fund, like the experts say, only to bitterly watch it vanish after a few hiccups, then you know exactly what I mean. That classic advice to save 3 to 6 months of expenses actually has a massive flaw. Why does your backup savings account always feel like a bottomless pit? And why does building it feel as impossible as reaching for the stars? That's the exact system error we're going to expose together in next week's video. See you guys then.